What's up? What's up? What is up? It's another Friday, another opportunity to get together and record the Ball Hog Sports Talk, where sports, business, and entertainment collide. The whole crew is in the building today. We got an amazing show for you. It is going by the title of What Are the Odds? And so, for you odds makers out there, for you guys who have action in respective games on a daily or nightly basis, you're going to appreciate the content today. We do it one way and one way only. It's rough, rugged, and raw. It's Ball Hog Sports Talk, where sports, business, and entertainment is coming to you. So let's go. Wake up, wake up, wake up, and stay woke. Because this is the Ball Hog Sports Talk with your boy, B. Brown, ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hog, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South. This is the place where sports, business, and entertainment collide. And we're going to give it to you rough, rugged, and raw. So come get you a spoonful, like some grits with butter and salt. You know how we do it in the South, y'all. Make sure you do not get caught in your feelings. Strap on your seatbelt and enjoy the ride. Come on, let's go. You know what it is, man. We back in the building, man. Once again, it's on in front of this microphone. The whole crew is in the building. We have from the Middle Coast, the guy who shall be internationally known and recognized intergalactically as the Big Flow Show's in the building. What's up, my brother?
Man, what's good? What's good, America? What's good? Happy to have the three of us this week. Taking a bye week last week. You know what I mean? Got to get the crew back together.
It's summer, man. It's spring. We got, everybody got spring break. It's the time we can take a bye week occasionally.
We have snow in Chicago. I don't know. You in summer. You almost made me fall off my chair.
I mean, on the calendar is spring. There it is. I mean, but
solstice. I believe the solstice was yesterday.
All right. So that means better weather is coming soon. It is cold here in New Jersey area as well. And we have from the New Jersey area by way of Beantown, Mr. Boston himself. You know him as ETP Ellis, the producer. What's up, my brother?
You're on mute.
Let me unmute you. I gotta unmute you, my brother. You on mute.
I didn't want to blow out the speakers with my yelling because I'm in such a bad mood today. But I'm a little bit better because it's not snowing here, but it is 30 degrees Fahrenheit, and the spring winter is not for me. And I know I'm representing Boston, but I live in Jersey City, home of the St. Peter's University Peacocks, and currently the largest margin of loss in the tournament to date. But congratulations.
Not ever, but just this year, right? Is that the largest? It can't be the largest ever.
No, in to date of this tournament. Yeah. They lost by 34. Not in the history of the game.
Yeah,
but
it could be.
But they made it to the dance, so I give it to them for that. Can't win them all, but
St. Peter's made it, and Seton Hall didn't. They're in the NIT. There are a lot of people struggling right now. We're gonna get right into basketball. Villanova, the number 1 seed in the NIT, lost at home. That black coach, young brother, I hope his job is secure. I think they announced that it is as of yesterday. But the odds that you would have certain teams losing in the first round were quite high. In favor of them not losing, right? So the odds were low. However you say that, I'm not really. I told you I don't bet much. So, but what I do know is every bracket in the world, a little bit of hyperbole. Most brackets though had Kentucky winning. It's safe to say, no one thought that this Kentucky team, with all of this talent, with 2 possible lottery pick players on that team from this NBA draft, another 2 in next NBA's draft projected, would lose in the first round. To who? Oakland. John Calipari.
Bay Area.
They getting hypey in Oakland. Let's just start there, man. And then I'll get into some of the finances of the NCAA tournament. But let's start with the biggest upset from yesterday. Kentucky goes down. I don't think I should be surprised because based on recent history, John Calipari and the Kentucky Wildcats have made a real habit of going home early. But yet, I found myself surprised. I'll start with you on an ETP. you see Kentucky Wildcats go down, and you think what?
I think that they do exactly what they always do, and that is collect NBA prospects, and they're renting them for the season, sell some tickets, and then when it comes down to the tournament, there's these teams that just want it more. They're not looking at the next level. They're not looking towards the NBA. They're not worried about if they're going to get injured or how much money they're going to make, and they also have. I mean, Oakland has the best shooter in Division I basketball. He hit 10 threes in the game, and he'll be an accountant next year. So
he's an accountant now. They were talking about he's got a hairline of a man 10 years his senior. he was transferred from a D2 school. He's like a nice success story, a feel good story. But you're right. He's primed for tax season. He's primed.
Yeah.
Big Flow show. So what I mean, but when you see like giant killers, and that's what makes this NCAA tournament so amazing, because it's one and done.
Yeah,
you lose, you go home.
I mean, I'll just to close on my point. I think the thing it's actually good because it adds excitement, because you have these teams that are literally bought and they're filled with NBA prospects. They don't necessarily have the chemistry, the teamwork, the drive, or the passion at this level. And so you have these smaller schools and unsung heroes, Cinderellas. It seems like it's happening more and more because the priorities are different, right? And so we're getting a lot more upsets now, and we're seeing like a San Diego State or all of these schools that just don't usually get that far, FAU, etc., because there's all this movement that happens. So it's good, right? Like it's good for the excitement of March Madness, but it's just a really unfortunate situation when you have like 5 NBA prospects on a team and they get bounced in the first round.
I would argue this though, I'm sorry, Big Flo, but I would argue that those same spoilers do have something to play for now, the transfer portal. Because some of them, with this exposure and the opportunity to play in front of these crowds and everyone's watching March Madness, it's a stepping stone, a la St. Peter's. You talked about St. Peter's, that whole team that advanced beyond all expectations had opportunities to go other places because of their success in March Madness. You said FAU. You talked about Fairleigh Dickinson. A lot of these players at these schools are also on rent, but they're on rent in hopes to get to the next level, which is a Power 5 school, a Kentucky, if you will, of basketball. I'll throw it to you on that one, Big Flow Show.
I think what we're seeing here too is we started to see it for a while with all the one and dones, people leaving, and some of the parity teams are getting kind of more mature. But this year and probably the next couple of years, well, with the COVID years and the people transferring, this kid that we talked about that they hit 10 threes, I believe he's 24 years old. So now you're going against young, raw talent trying to win a game against people who should be in their coaching career, or they should be on they're just finishing their rookie deal in the NBA. So, that there's going to be more parity in that, right? I think that, we look at the NIT, you talk about the first round bounce for Villanova.
Out of there.
Yeah, but I mean, you're in the NIT, so you're the tallest midget, is what they're saying, right? So now you're going to come out here.
You can't say midget no more, man. You can't say that word. You're tallest small person.
My dad is a midget, so
some of my best friends.
My best friend is black. My dad is a midget, so my mother-in-law is a midget. I have midgets in my family. I can say it. I get a pass. I got a pass here somewhere. I can't find it. I think this is my pass right here. So, but anyway, at the end of the day, you're the tallest midget. And so you're the number 1 seed. It's like an oxymoron. How are you the number 1 seed of the NIT? You know what I mean?
And I know some teams passed on it. Some teams passed on it.
Some teams said, I'm good. I'll just stay at the house. I am the best of the worst. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. So I just think that I love it. I think that's what makes it I mean, basketball is not a game to be judged on one game. I mean, there's no undefeated teams hardly anymore. Purdue was number 1 7 different times this year because they kept getting beat and they're, doing whatever. And I love it. And so I think, NBA does series for a reason because they realize anybody can get beat on any night. So this tournament to be so big and so meaningful and just be one and done, you just lose and you're out. I love it.
I do too. You talked about there are rarely any undefeated teams. The last one that comes to mind is that 2014, 2015 Kentucky team that also lost, right? They lost to Wisconsin in the Final Four. That was shocking. And since then, we've watched, and then you fast forward a little bit to 2019, and Calipari has been largely unsuccessful in the NCAA tournament. He has been largely successful when it comes to producing NBA talent. Not only NBA talent in terms of getting drafted, but they do well in the NBA. And so it baffles me because I don't want to say he's a bad coach because you watch some of his in-game decisions. It doesn't seem to be that. It does seem, though, that call it that his players are distracted by the opportunity to move on, or I don't know what it is, but Calipari got some stanch to him, man. What are the odds that this man, who is notorious for being a great coach, will be doing so bad in recent history in the NCAA tournament? It just doesn't seem
when
right.
you say in history, it's been like 15 years. Like, how long has it been?
I'm going just from 2019. So I'm saying 2018 they lost in the Sweet 16. That's not, it is what it is. 2019 they lost in the Elite Eight. Okay, right. But again, both teams, 2018 and 2019, you look, what are the odds? You look at people's brackets, and most of those brackets show Kentucky going at least to the Final Four, if not winning it all. I remember picking Kentucky to win it all in one of my brackets. It stopped me from doing brackets anymore. 2022, they lost in the first round. 2023, they lost in the second round. And then this year, they lost in the first round again. So that's what I mean by recent history. Like, it just seems to be getting worse as his teams, from a talent standpoint, seem to be getting better. And those two things don't normally correlate.
Are they getting better? I mean, for a while.
Talent-wise.
I was going to say, talent-wise, when he was doing pretty well, is when he had like 5 lottery picks starting on the court and 2 on the bench. Now it doesn't seem like, and I could be wrong, it doesn't seem like he's got that stacked of a roster compared to the way of the past. Maybe I'm wrong with that.
I'm not here. They're stacked. He's stacked this year. It just, what you're saying is, I think what you're saying, let me put words in your mouth, but they were more developed college players that were well received as an almost guaranteed lottery pick and can't miss NBA prospects, versus the talent that he has now are going to be NBA projects, maybe NBA lottery picks, but just not as guaranteed because they're younger, right? It's just a younger group of.
Yeah, to me, it was always it was never a maybe. It was everybody who goes over there is a lottery pick. Now, some of them were a bust, and I don't say bust, but like some of these guys did not do as well as others in the NBA. But like, I mean, if you look in the NBA, there's no school that has more goons in the NBA than Kentucky. Am I wrong in saying that?
At the present day, I would say.
Yeah,
for the last few years. I mean,
I would say guards. I wouldn't just say goons. I would say goon guards. They have a monopoly. It's Guard University. But then you still got other programs with players that are, a ton of NBA players. So okay. But I get where you're going.
In the conversation, so they should be doing better than they're doing. I don't know, man. I just think when you get to postseason play, it's different. And I think you need to have a little experience. He doesn't really have a lot of experience on his roster typically. I don't know. I think that has to play with it. And maybe their NIL money ran out and they're ready to go get trained for the NBA. They're like, I'm not being paid for all this stuff.
But to lose to Oakland, ETP, I'll give you last word on it. I do think that before I give you last word, I'll say this because it's just a revelation. Maybe because it is guard you, because there's a bunch of goons and guards. Maybe the real science behind this is you need front court play to go far in the NCAA tournament. It can't just be guard play. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. ETP, I'll give you last word on it. I was baffled. And again, everyone will pick Kentucky because they seem to be going in the right direction. The trajectory is great. You got Rob Dillingham playing out of his mind. And womp again. What do we think? Is Calipari? Are we seeing the warts and the spots on John Calipari?
Yeah, I mean, so the reality is we've started to see this happen like Coach K, all the older coaches. I mean, even in the NBA, you see younger, like there's a trend of younger coaches, even in the NFL. Like there's the relatability is something where younger coaches seem to be more in demand and getting more positions. So maybe that's what the effect is, where Calipari is kind of like aging out, can't connect. You're basically coaching pros at this point with NIL. There's a little bit more entitlement than usual. So maybe that's the effect of it. That being said, in reverse, I think his name is Greg Camp, the coach of Oakland. He's been the head coach of that team for literally 40 years. Brought them from D2 to D1. I think they have 4 tournament wins in the history of the school. This is obviously the biggest in the history of the school. So that's a counterpoint to everything I just said. The man's, I think 75, 80 years old, or 70 years old, and just knocked down a giant. So,
man, he was 137 years old. He was 137 years old when he fought Joe Louis. Right. He went out and beat him. So, shout out to Oakland. I don't even know what their mascot is. I want to say Oakland Soldiers, but that's an AAU team. I don't even know what their mascot is. Shout out to Oakland. How about that?
The Golden Grizzlies.
The Golden Grizzlies, because we don't want the other kind of Grizzlies. You want the Golden Grizzlies, and Oakland represented for the Golden Grizzlies. Let me just get this out of here before we move on from March Madness. Because while we're talking about the odds, and for everyone joining, thank you. Like we ask you every week humbly, please like, comment, share, tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anybody you know, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel and the podcast. We ask you that humbly, and I'll even put a please on it. I'll also ask you guys as I'm wrapping up this March Madness segment, who do you have winning it all? What are the odds that you have your bracket right? As of today, there's going to be a very few perfect brackets because of the odds. To me, I always like to pick at least one 12 over 5. I don't like messing with anything beyond that because of the odds. But here you have a 14 beating a 3. So chime in if you are watching live. Let us know who you pick. Why did you pick them? Where are you so far with your bracket? Did you pick Kentucky to lose early? I know someone in the gym told me they did this morning. They could be lying, but we shall see. So please chime in. I did want to talk about the day that was yesterday. When I was still going into an office, because of COVID, I don't do that much anymore. But when I was going into an office, the first day of the tournament, official day, not the playing games, but that Thursday, everyone took an elongated lunch or left early or took a sick day. PTO was popping on that day. And as of last year, the opening day NCAA tournament averaged a combined 8.4 million viewers per window across CBS, TBS, TNT, and True TV, which was up 2% from the previous year. I'm going to guess that this year is going to be just as high, if not higher. We shall see when the ratings come out. And you think about all of the economic impact that the NCAA tournament has across the globe. All the bars that were full yesterday with people coming to watch basketball. All the televisions that were tuned in. All the ads, commercial ads that were sold because of NCAA basketball. In 2023, the NCAA earned $1.2 billion in revenue the entire year, with roughly $1 billion of that 1.28 coming from March Madness alone. And despite all of that, the economic impact that the tournament has, how people stop their lives and tune in, go to bars, leave work, the approximately $1 billion that comes from March Madness alone. Despite that, NCAA players still get zero compensation from the institutions. What are the odds? I think because you talk about Kentucky and these players looking forward and maybe the NIL money drying up, I think we're at the intersection where this finally changes. What do you guys think before we get out of here, man? That you look at those finances, you look at those numbers, you pay attention to the reality that the whole world stops because of this tournament, and to think that not a single player is going to receive a single penny directly from the money that they generated from this exciting, and I call it the best in all of sports, because it's a single elimination tournament and anybody can win on any given day. No one's going to receive a penny from that directly from their impact. I'll start with you on this Big Flow show. I think we're at the intersection that it changes, and when you look at those numbers, I think it should change. But we're still at the point where they're going to receive a total of $0 from what they have generated. What are the odds?
I think it's amazing when you look at it, because everyone's crying broke. Now they're trying to say that, if they become employees and they're going to have to pay them, they're broke and they're going to have to shut these programs down. Typical big power making scare tactics, trying to make everyone scared and pull on heartstrings and make people think they're victims. They just signed for the college football playoffs. I think it was a $7.9 billion contract for the college football playoffs. $7.9 billion. And nobody's going to get any money from that. Nobody's going to taste on any of that. None of that stuff is just going to go to the schools. Playoffs only got 16 teams. I mean, there's got to be. I didn't read all the details and see how it's going to go down, but that's an unreal number for revenue.
Unreal.
And they're just saying.
I said unreal. I just repeated unreal. You think of the revenue behind that and it not being divvied up between the generators of that revenue? That's nothing. Unreal.
There's nothing for you. We're broke. We're broke. We have nothing for you. I think it's crazy. It's going to eventually, something's going to happen, and the current program is going to implode. We got other stories to talk about today. We're talking about some of the things that are wrong with the current system of the collectives and how things are going in that direction. I think it's eventually going to cause the pressure, because the collectors are putting a Band-Aid. They're putting the onus on their alumni, and they're putting a Band-Aid on it right now. And at some point, people are going to back up and say, "No, this isn't working for me anymore. I'm not doing it." And now that the cat's out the bag, no one's going to want to play for free. So they're going to have to find some money somewhere. The pressure's going to get great.
ETP, you look at the finances. You're a man of business mentality. You understand how to navigate corporate spaces. You understand P&L statements. Are we seeing the end of this, what has been described as indentured servitude? And then, as you described it, Big Flow show, something very unfair seems to be our norm. But there also seems to be this momentum for a change. What say you?
So I think, obviously March Madness is the biggest revenue generator of the NCAA, not just the schools. So college football, the colleges have started to actually kind of make the NCAA unnecessary with the conference realignment and the way that they're, the Power Five is moving, where the NCAA is becoming less and less relevant to the side of college football. So that's the schools are getting, the schools have the media deals, the schools have, all of this that comes with it. On the basketball side, March Madness has been, which also 2 years ago expanded into the women's side, that platform, that property has been the cash cow of the NCAA for as long as it's been in existence. However, there's also now a trend or a new entrant into the landscape. It's there's going to be an NIL tournament in the fall, so it's called the Players Era. Every team that participates in it is going to get $1 million. That'll go to their NIL collective. It'll get distributed out to the players on each team. And then the winner of the tournament gets another $1 million. So if you win the tournament, your team gets $2 million. Anybody that participates gets $1 million. Now, that's getting paid to play, literally, through the NIL the NIL parameters. So if that catches on, the NCAA is they have a little bit of a conundrum where they're being challenged, where, you're not paying these players. You're giving them water bottles and sneakers and, whatever other, t-shirts and, and bags with their name on them and all these other, swag that they get in their hotel rooms. But you're not going to be able to compete with dividing up $1 million across 20 kids.
Here's where I'm going to push back a little bit, ETP, because the NIL tournament is what it is, but the payment goes through the NIL collective. There's a third party there. And I'm going to ask you guys directly. I'm cross-examining. I need the most direct answer that you can give. I'll start with you on the ETP, and I'm coming to you, Big Flo, so get ready. What are the odds, as our show title is, what are the odds that we will finally get payment directly from the institutions going to the athletes within the next year?
Oh, it's not. Well, who did you want to answer that?
I'm going with you first. What are the odds?
So,
are they high? What are the odds?
Zero. I mean, the NIL collect so that example of the Players Era tournament, that has to filter through the NIL collective, and then they can disperse the funds to the players or the athletes that are on the teams. But in terms of the schools just paying a salary in the next year, no. I mean, it'll be in litigation.
Next 5 years.
5 years? High. I mean, 70%. I mean, I'm making up numbers, but good possibility. But the legal system takes so long that unlikely, but I think it'll definitely be in motion pretty far along in 5 years.
Yeah, because you watch the NCAA.
10 years, absolutely.
Even in game one, you're watching the main game, UNC's about to play, and I see an NCAA commercial buying the ad space talking about extended health benefits and all of they're selling their existence, their reason for being. They've got to create ads now to advertise that they have still a purpose. Big Flo Show, same question to you, and I'll extend it to 5 years. What are the odds that the institutions, call it NCAA or call it the individual institutions, will be paying a direct compensation to the players for generating these billions of dollars worth of revenue?
I think in the next 5 years, I'd say it's almost 100% that they're going to do it, because at this point, as these numbers are starting to be out there, the groundswell of support from the public, it's just going to take something maybe earth-shattering. I think that the fact that the collectives in their current form are going to collapse, people are going to get tired of putting all this money out and not having some sort of a structure and just giving it to these players before they do anything, putting them out there, they don't play. Something bad's going to happen. Someone's going to go off. One of these donors is going to walk on the court or walk on the field and say, "I paid for that man, and I want him in the game right now." And it's going to take some big crazy event. I don't know what it's going to be, but some crazy event's going to put it where it's going to put too much pressure, and the people in the collectives are going to be the same people going back and saying to the schools, "You guys need to be paying them. I'll donate to the school the way I've been doing it, but you guys need to be paying them. It can't keep coming from me because I got burned on the last 3 dudes, blah, blah, blah," and that's what's going to happen. So
yeah, you got to have skin in the game too. Great opportunity to transition, because you talk about a crazy event. We're talking about the NIL collectives and that money being the source that players are getting some form of compensation. And while we feel good about that, knowing that they're generating billions, the truth of the matter is that there is an out. There's a third-party payer. So the institutions, call it NCAA, call it University of fill in the blank, still aren't breaking them off. They're doing it by way of the name, image, and likeness that the players generate on their own. Enter a man by the name of Kadyn Proctor. Kadyn Proctor was a long time, he's from Des Moines, Iowa. He was a long time Iowa Hawkeye commit. He was the number 1 offensive tackle prospect, 5-star recruit, number 1 offensive tackle prospect 2 recruiting cycles ago. He was in the top 5 overall prospects in that same recruiting cycle. He had committed to Iowa when he was 3 years old. That part is hyperbole. But he was a long-time Iowa commit, hometown hero. This was going to be what got Iowa to the next level of the Big Ten. And then, bam, on National Signing Day, Kadyn Proctor signs with University of Alabama and Nick Saban. Starts as a freshman, but Nick Saban decides to retire. He's one of several starters on the Alabama Crimson Tide team that enters the transfer portal. enters the transfer portal, and decides he's going to go home to Iowa. He says, and I quote, and I want to make sure I quote this because it's just too rich. This is what good stories are made of. Make sure I still have it. I got to paraphrase because I don't think I have it anymore. But he says essentially, I was able to transfer back to Iowa because none of the bridges were burned. Those relationships were still good, so it was seamless for me to come out of the transfer portal and go to Iowa. Remember how heartbroken Iowa was and had to be because their hometown hero, he did one of the hat things. I don't know if literally, but figuratively. I'm going to Iowa. No, I'm not. I'm going to Bama.
Oh, did that show monkey stuff?
I don't think I don't know that. I don't know, but I know that there was a last minute flip to Alabama. But he says, and I'm paraphrasing, the relationships were still good. No bridges were burned. That's why I was able to transfer to Iowa. Iowa attracts Kadyn Proctor by offering him, as we say in Lauderdale, the bag. They took the lion's share, and I'm quoting the head coach there, the lion's share of their NIL resources. They have directed them towards Kadyn Proctor, the #1 offensive tackle in the previous recruiting cycle, a man who has started every game as a freshman for Alabama Crimson Tide, a team that eventually goes and becomes one of the Final Four in the BCS playoff. And this guy is worth the bag. Well, Kadyn Proctor transfers to Iowa in January, goes on spring break in March with a bunch of his former teammates in Alabama, and now Kadyn Proctor has made it be known that he is re-entering the transfer portal with all expectations that he will go back to Alabama. I took the time to explain that story because I want us to just see how far and ludicrous this whole combination of NIL, the bag that attracts you, with the transfer portal, the mechanisms that allow you to move, and the space that the money is not coming directly from the institution, just how far we have gone. Kadyn Proctor is on the front page of ridiculousness when it comes to where we are with the transfer portal, and all of it is legit. I'll start with you on this one, Big Flo Show. We're in the Big Ten. The Big Ten has a big old target on its face right now from bozo behavior. I don't want to talk about a 19-year-old kid. So I'm just going to talk about the concept, not the kid himself. I'm assuming there's a lot of things that go on. At 19, I didn't make great decisions. And so let's try to stay above the board when it comes to the kid. Let's talk about the concept that allows this to happen. What say you?
You know, it's, again, when you don't lay out stuff in the beginning, when you're late, it's just the Emmert and his laziness where he just said, all right, everybody just go do what you got to go do. This type of shit happens. You know, at work, they'll tell you business casual, right? And people come in and there's always going to be somebody who comes dressed goofy as hell. And you're like, man, you're going to mess this up for everybody, right? You're going to get to the point where there's going to be some rules based on you. So I think Iowa has egg on their face. They brought this kid in. I don't know if it was recklessness, arrogance, or whatever. They gave him the bag, figuring he's home now. Why would anyone leave? You know, he's back here, and now he got the bag and he can just leave. I don't know if he got everything up front or if they were supposed to stagger it. He left some money on the table. If you listen to the way Kirk Ferentz sounded like they gave him all the bread, and now he's in the midst. I don't know that he came and had the hustle on the thing, because the story is that he went on spring break with some of his buddies from Bama, and they told him, "Hey, it's sweet, it's still sweet over here. Why don't you come back?" And he bounced. As a Big Ten foe to Iowa, I giggled 3 times. I got 3 good belly chuckles.
That's not even right, man. You don't laugh at people like that, man. You don't kick a man when he's down.
Good giggles.
You
The
don't
same
laugh
the same amount of giggles if I see somebody slip on the ice is the same way I was allowed to laugh at this. 3 chuckles, and then I got to see if they're okay. So, Iowa, are you okay? Are you okay, Iowa? Are you
Are you
okay?
okay?
Are you okay? Are you okay, Iowa? So, yeah, I'm laughing at your expense. I had to say that. I'm laughing because I mean, I didn't want to see that big dude touching people that my son's friends with and put his big greasy mitts on people in the box and driving down the field against their will. I didn't want to see that.
You didn't want to see
So,
that. Maybe I shouldn't have started with you then.
I want to see it. Hello, man, I'm talking. I got the conch.
My bad.
Look, so I didn't want to see that type of stuff. So yeah, go back and take their bread so they can't replace nothing. The problem is though, how do you go back to your donors and say, all right, we fumbled the bag, okay? Give us another $2 million. I promise the next guy is going to stay. So that set Iowa back for a while. God bless them. But I don't know. The debate was, I've been in some of the circles I roll in, is they think he should give the money back. I say fuck that. You know what I mean? Like, they still hate you. Like, here's the thing is, if you give the money back, do you think you're still welcome back in Iowa, or do they still hate you? If you're gonna hate me anyway, why would I give you the bread back if I don't have to?
But that's why in terms of the order of the show, I wanted to present what is institutional unfairness first. Now, the people in your circle that are saying you should give the money back are really looking at it from a purist standpoint. But what is pure about what this system is right now? There's nothing pure about this. You know, so ETP, I know that you got you got some visual showing of just how hurt the coach was. I think that it really displays where Iowa is as an entire state. Can we run that clip before I ask you the same question? Can we run that clip?
All right.
It is unfortunate that Kadyn has informed us of his intentions to leave our program today. We wish him well in the future. Sure, he played us for suckers and pocketed the lion's share of our limited NIL money resources. But the good news is he did not take a copy of our playbook with him, so we won't have to change a single thing schematically, and that should really excite Iowa fans this fall.
I mean, the level of hurt there. Yeah, my wife cheated on me and took my kids, but at least she left me that 1998 Honda Accord out there with 200,000 miles on it. Like that, the pain in that, the utter pain in that interview. ETP, the system allowed this to happen, and the order of the show, I really wanted to do it that way because I wanted to just show how being stubborn and saying, no, you're not employees. No, we're not going to share these billions, has created this situation. Kadyn Proctor is the spawn. He has come from this craziness. And so the system can only laugh at itself. What say you?
I wonder, he might, I think I was reading somewhere, he's a nephew of Brian Kelly. So so I think he might have learned he kind of learned these tactics of jumping around from a family member.
Fair. Brian Kelly on a visit already have accepted the job at LSU. Fair. Touche, man. Touche. Yeah. Too soon, man. You didn't kick me like that.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, should he give the money back? If the contract says he doesn't have to, this is a very, litigious environment we live in. If the contract doesn't say he has to give it back, then I don't think he has to give it back. It's their fault for making that mistake. They should have thought it through. They should have been buttoned up. And it'll be interesting. I think the biggest thing is it'll be interesting to see if this sets a precedent or if we start to see this more often where the terms of transfer portal as well as NIL becomes a little bit more regulated in ways that prevent this from happening. And I'm sure there's going to be plenty of people that really want to prevent that from happening. It's mainly these powerful boosters.
Yeah, if I've invested in this NIL collective, and more specifically, the idea that we're going to get this offensive tackle of our dreams, and that kid plays me like that, I've got to look in the mirror and say, I got to make better investment decisions. And I think that's where we're headed. You said a Big Flow show. And I think that Kadyn Proctor will be not only a member, but, not only president, but a member of why all of this changed. He is going to be the face of why it makes more sense for the University of Iowa to be able to pay directly their player than to go through this windy road of gently connected relationships that have really little to no substance. And, shout out to Coach for saying, yeah, he played us. He straight up played us. Players like some fools. But he's only playing you because these athletes are in a system where they're getting played. And so, look, man, ain't the whole thing, what is it? Amongst thieves, what's the whole saying?
No honor amongst
honor
thieves.
amongst thieves. Ain't no honor amongst thieves. Y'all all thieves.
You know what the real true irony of this whole situation is? Coach Ferentz said that the Iowa faithful should be excited that he didn't take the playbook. And they had the worst offense in the Big Ten last year. And that's probably one thing they wish he would have done.
Take that damn playbook.
To hell with that money. That's not my bag. But damn it, if he could have took the playbook, then maybe we'd be better off on offense. That's the true irony.
He had to fire his own son, man. He had to fire his own son. That's how bad your offense is. You got to fire your own son.
The worst part was the AD said his son couldn't report to him anymore. His son reported to the AD, we can't trust you to be impartial with your son. But this cat said he left the playbook. He didn't take the playbook with him.
Take it with you.
Because he looked at those sorry-ass plays that y'all been running and said, fuck it, I ain't taking this shit. I'll take this bag. You know what I'm saying? When there's a fire in the house, you got to grab what's most important. Children, your wedding album, whatever.
Yeah, your dog.
The dog, whatever. He left that playbook. He said,
let it burn.
Playbook is trash. So he didn't take it.
This is going to be one of those moments when we look back in history, man. And Kadyn Proctor, I think, is going to be the source of why so many things change. Because while we all think it's ridiculous, it is indicative of where the system is. So I'll move on there. But what are the odds that someone will enter the transfer portal just to come out on the other side with more money and he's going to be in the same dorm room? Right there back in Tuscaloosa.
And they probably gave him a bigger bag to come back.
Yeah, he got it. Go ahead, big man. Go ahead. Kadyn Proctor for president. Let's get in and out real quick, man. Ball Hog Spotlight moment. We're going to do a shorter show today, man. It's going to be our new format where we're going to shorten the shows and we ain't going to do nothing different from Rough, Rugged, and Raw. It's going to still be sports, business, entertainment where some businessmen get together to discuss sports in an entertaining fashion, but it's just going to be quicker because y'all attention spans. We're dealing with the American attention span. So let's go lightning round. Here's the Ball Hog Spotlight moment. These are lightning round topics. The first one's got to be Caleb Williams. Depending on who you ask, it's sort of split. While they did show a play action pass where he casually threw a 70-yard bomb, there have been several experts that say that he bombed the pro day. He didn't work out at the combine. And so here was Caleb Williams, one chance to show us what he could do. And then the results are very torn on Caleb Williams. And so what are the odds that he will remain the first pick? I got to start with you, Mr. Chicago Bear fan. You are on the clock. You have now traded away your asset in getting rid of Fields. So Justin Fields is gone. Caleb Williams is there. We saw what he did in the pro day. What are the odds that he's your pick?
I think they're still going to pick him number one. I wouldn't pick this guy as number one at all. And that's not because of the way he dresses in interviews. It's not because he paints his nails. It's not because his mom held him in a blanket and he wept for a full minute after he lost the game.
Hey, man, but Jesus wept. Jesus wept.
Jesus wept. Jesus wept. I just want to pick him, man, because he's doing too much.
He's a car accident.
He's a car accident waiting to happen. He's doing too much, man. He does the way he's carrying himself. They show a little video of him walking in his workout, acting like he big time Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen is a perennial all-pro receiver, and he came to watch your workout and support you, see what you got, and you big time him kind of at the end. You're like, oh, I didn't see you over there. You saw me. I just don't like him. I think it all depends on the pro days of I'm sure he already had his pro day. The guy from LSU.
Daniels, you got May, you got there's a bunch of guys that are still in.
I like Penix until that last game, but I think he was hurt.
Penix looked good at the combine too.
Penix drops balls in your pocket, man. I think he throws, they come out the sky and just drop, make some easy catches. So everyone's got a question mark, but I think at the end of the day, they're going to go back and take Caleb first.
ETP, what are the odds? We got what he did in the pro day. So I'll go one further with you. What are the odds that if and when it sounds like Chicago is expecting, the Chicago fans are expecting the Bears use their first pick on Caleb Williams? What are the odds that he has a great rookie season and a great career in Chicago?
It's not an organization known for having great quarterback development. So so I don't know. And also at the end of all of this, his draft season or campaign started with him saying, allegedly, I don't know if it's been confirmed, but before he even took a snap in an NFL uniform, he wanted partial ownership of whatever team drafted him. And so at that point, I don't even understand how you have a conversation with somebody that's that entitled and hasn't proven anything and is looking. I appreciate the ambition, but it doesn't seem to make sense in terms of how you do business.
Fair. For the next lightning round, Ball Hawk Spotlight moment, we have a visual depiction, and it is going to show something nasty to a man named Mr. Collins. Mr. Collins was on the wrong end of Ant-Man. And let's see that picture, if you don't mind, ETP. This was the dunk heard around the world. Probably going to be a dunk of the year. I will say Collins got caught by surprise. What are the odds? I'll start with you on this, ETP, that this will be dunk of the year. And what are the odds that Minnesota finally takes advantage of all of this talent and gets far in the playoffs? Start with you, ETP.
The odds are 0 because it's not even a dunk. It's the hardest floater you've ever seen in your life. He never even touched the rim.
I think he grazed it. All you got to do
he did not touch that rim at all.
Look how far in the air he is, and look at the man below. I know we don't do posters anymore, but one of the old manufacturers of posters needs to come out of retirement and sell this. I would buy this in this 3-segment version. Ant-Man is out of his mind right now. Big Flow Show, you see this highlight going on all night, and what do you think?
First thing that comes to my mind is targeting. Right? I believe it was the head and neck. Look, excessive force to the head and neck. Look, he had a concussion. He launched himself. He was defenseless. He was a defenseless player, right? I think it meets all the criteria for targeting. Ant-Man should have been ejected and missed the next game. Find the game check.
Hey, but I don't mean to make light of Collins being in concussion protocol, but damn, that's how you know this man is on attack right now. He's on a tear. Ant-Man is playing, and they show highlights of his youth football days. Ant-Man is that dude, man. I'm with it. He reminds me of something back in the 90s. I know everybody's saying we over the 90s now, but he is playing as though he has a chip on his shoulder. And how dare you, Mr. Collins, be under that basket when I have a basketball in my hand?
Things to do.
You little boy.
I had the light. He said, Ant-Man said, I had the light. You're the one that was in this intersection.
We're gonna go home with this, man. Lightning round, Ball Hawk Spotlight moment. Shohei Ohtani got robbed, apparently. What are the odds that Ohtani has something to do with this? This story just seems really weird that the translator stole some money. What are the odds that there are more layers to this story? I'll go with you on this one. Big Flow Show, take us home. Lightning round. What you got for us before we get out of here?
I think it's 100% odds we're not getting the right story because I don't know how does your translator get access to the bag? I mean, does he just sit in the room and say, Ohtani just said he wants y'all to give me $4.5 million. I don't know why he said it, but that's what he said. Ask him.
But y'all don't speak Japanese.
Yeah.
So
Ask the man.
Run that paper.
I tell you, I ask him again. They say they want to know, are you sure? Yes, he just said he was sure. Give me 4.5 mil. There has to be more checks and balances than that, right? There has to be a second translator, somebody with sign language or something. I don't know what we're doing, but yeah, it has to be more to the story.
I'll let you go home with it. Same question you, ETP. This story sounds fishy. I'm talking about it smells like fishy fish. I'm talking about like fish market in Seattle, like fish. And Ohtani with all the money, man, I guess, what we say, no honor amongst thieves, but he didn't steal that money. That's his money. Why? I don't know what to make of this story. I'll let you take it home, ETP. What you got for us before we get out of here?
I mean, I don't know the answer, but what I will say is clearly he has his management team is inferior. I said it from the beginning. I think he negotiated a bad deal, no matter how big that payday was with the deferred income and all of that. That was step one. And now they can't even keep what is potentially a gambling addiction and or money laundering and or something else under wraps. Whatever is going on, clearly the people around him are problematic. And he's the biggest baseball prospect this side of, I don't know, Babe Ruth, right? And
right.
He doesn't have a team that's preventing him from evading this type of scandal, which is also, and I know Big Flo will love this, another testament to LeBron James for never finding any controversy other than having a free agency after school special.
Fair. You know what? You did that on our way out as a jab to me because I'm the LeBron hater amongst the three, but I'll take it. That's I cannot hate on that. There's no shade there. That man has stayed squeaky clean. Let's get out of here, man. This has been a great show. We've got more basketball today. It's day 2, still round 1. The ladies are starting off as well today in the women's NCAA tournament. You are going to participate in the billions of dollars, the economic impact that is directly connected to these young athletes going out and playing basketball. I hope that all of us, by way of support, by way of participation, if you are in the judicial system, maybe by way of your ruling, but I hope all of us will play a role in somehow, some way also making sure that we change the tide and make some financial sense to all of this. These athletes need to get paid directly from the institutions that are benefiting. Until then, enjoy all the odds. Hopefully your bracket is still brilliant and it is perfect. Enjoy the basketball, the purity of the game. What are the odds episode is now in the books. It has been the Ball Hawk Sports Talk, where sports, business, and entertainment collide. Your entire crew is in the building. I'm your boy, B. Brown, ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hawk, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South, a.k.a. Mr. Success Celebration, a.k.a. Breezy. Luckily, we had ETP. We had Big Flow Show. We had Rough, Rugged, and Raw. We had us another great show. Join us next week. Please like, comment, share, tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anybody that you know. And please subscribe to the YouTube channel and the podcast. See y'all next week. With that, we is out. Peace.